Plymouth School is proud to present this evening's event, Candidates Night. Candidates Night is an opportunity for the public to participate in a question and answer session with the candidates that are running for the open seats on the Board of Ed. We're honored to provide this forum for you, citizens of EHT. At this time, I'm very happy to introduce our moderator for this evening. He's a resident of Cape May County and is the Patient Advocate, Experience, and Volunteer Services Director at Cape Regional Medical Center in Cape May Courthouse, Mr. Ray Wisniewski. Please welcome Mr. Wisniewski.
Again, thank you for having me back this year. It was a great pleasure last year, and I look forward to a successful night tonight as well. Good luck, candidates, and thank you again for having me. So we're going to start off with Mr. Louis Della Barca, and if you want to introduce yourself first.
Hi, I'm Lou Della Barca. Thank you all for being here this evening. Appreciate it.
Okay. So the first question is for you, and what school events have you participated in this year? Why is it important for the board to support the students directly?
Oh, it's always important for the board to participate. I sponsored the Davenport Choir that they started about 2 years ago. When they go to Wildwood and present, I sponsored that event for that because that was my school when I was principal of the township. So I have a little bit of a favoritism act over there. I attend football games when I can. I certainly attend the plays when they're produced because I think our productions are outstanding and we should see them and support the high school and the middle school plays. And I certainly was at EHT Pride, EHT Pride Fest on Saturday, and I was there, of course, a year ago. So I try to get out to as many events as possible, and it's very important. It's important that the children see us and that the parents see us, that we're supporting their events and that we appreciate what they do and how much work they put into it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next candidate is Marita Sullivan. How you doing, Marita?
Very well, thank you. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for being here.
Okay. So a question for you. How would you handle requests or questions if approached by an individual or special interest group? Do you feel that responding to requests or questions on social media is appropriate for a board member?
My policy, just for myself, is I don't respond on Facebook to anybody that is speaking about individual things. I did have one person that contacted me personally and asked what I was all about, and I did respond to her. But as far as Facebook goes, I really don't reply on there because it just snowballs no matter what you say. Whether you're on a good side, a bad side, in the middle, or have no opinion at all. It just continues to spin until it's out of control. So that's the way I treat my Facebook.
Very good. Mr. Ray Ellis, how are you?
Good.
Nice to meet you. So this one's specific to you. Did you have any concerns about the kindergarten transition process that was used this year?
Could you get here? Lou's question.
I could answer.
Kindergarten. What about kindergarten? No, I love kindergarten. Everybody in the township is dying for the kindergarten program to start. So we have to stop saying and start doing it. I know it's going to be a lot of money in the budget for the budget to have kindergarten, but our town has grown a bit, and it's very necessary for us to start and stop talking about it.
Very good. Thank you very much. Patrick Ireland, how you doing?
Good. Good evening.
Yes. So this is another question we have out there, a general question. What do you feel are essential attributes for a successful school board member and why? You give examples if you can.
So, I believe core values, and I believe one of mine is integrity. I believe everybody on the board should have integrity. Even when people aren't looking, they should always do the right thing. And we got to have trust. People have to trust us on the board if they're going to vote for us. So I believe integrity and trust are pretty good attributes for us.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Dr. Nataki Chestnut-Lee, correct?
Yes.
Welcome tonight.
Thank you.
So this one is specific to you. How would you improve the relationship between the township committee and school board?
Okay. Great question. First and foremost, one of the things that I would do is first have a conversation with our board to determine if they believe what issues need to be resolved within the township committee first off. After that, I would then, we would sit down and pretty much develop a strategic plan to determine what our next steps would be moving forward to develop that relationship with the township committee. One of the things right now that we do see in our community, that there is a disconnect, so to speak. And although we're two separate governmental entities, it is very important that we work together. So one of the things I would do would encourage not only the township committee, but also the school board to get together, have a joint retreat. We can also do some team building exercises doing that. And also, just coming back to the table and having an open, honest conversation with one another to see how we got to that point where there is, a disconnect between the township, and at the end of the day, both entities need to work together effectively, because we're all EHT residents. And at the end of the day, we should not only care about, the particular position that we're holding, but care about all the citizens. So through that strategic plan, we would drive a conversation and an action plan around that to build that connect between the township committee as well as the board.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Michael Price, how are you?
I'm great. How are you this evening?
Good to see you again. What role, this is another general question, what role does policy play in the functioning of the board? And what reasons would you give for not supporting a policy that the superintendent recommended?
Well, policy is something that leads direction. That's what we do as a board. We create policy. And policies are something that need to be taken seriously, because all the information that goes in there, we have to determine whether it's something that's reasonable and just. Without being specific, when you read a policy, it's important that you research all the information. And then I personally will support it based on what my best judgment would be as far as the policy goes. And it varies according to what the particular policy is. So without any specifics as to what the policy may be, the general consensus is that you would follow the policy as it's presented to you if you're comfortable with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen Napoli. Hello.
Close.
What did I say wrong?
Napoli.
Napoli.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Story of my life. Well, thanks everybody for coming
My last
tonight. We
name
really
is
appreciate
Jesse,
it.
so that's so this one is specific to you. Policy that you create and support should reflect the law. How is keeping the transgender policy in limbo supporting the law?
Oh, that's a great policy. That's a great question for me, I guess. So let's start with the law. Define the law. Anti-discrimination law. The law specifically says we aren't supposed to discriminate against any member of society, regardless of race, creed, ethnicity, sex, gender, the whole nine. So there's the law. There's discrimination law in the state of New Jersey and federal law. And then there's guidelines set forth by school boards, set forth by federal school boards, and they give guidelines on what their interpretation of the law is to give guidance to the townships throughout the states. Then there's the school board, who interpret the guidelines and create policies based off of guidelines. So if we're going to create policies off of guidelines, why aren't we involving all the players in that it involves, instead of creating a policy based off of a guideline on one side or the other? I know the transgender policy is a very touchy subject in the township nowadays, and there's different sides of perspectives regardless of what side of the stance you stand on, but where's the middle? Why isn't the township talking with the community, talking with the transgender population in our community, and coming out with a policy that fits the middle, that fits all parts of that? Yet we follow the guidelines, and if you read the guidelines, they're very specific to maybe one way or the other, but does that fit a Harbor Township? Does that fit our makeup? And then we brought all players to the table. I can tell you specifically, I've talked to the transgender population. I've asked them what their take on the policy and law is and those guidelines. And I'm not even on the board. I just come to meetings and listen. But I have my beliefs and my core values. They have theirs. Let's meet in the middle and have a conversation, because I'm not always going to be always right. And we need to find the middle. So whatever the reason is for postponing this, I don't know what the reason is. They decided in that back room without the public knowing it. There deserves to be a policy. There deserves to be open dialect, black and white, for guidance for all members of the district and the kids. And at the end of the day, it affects the kids. It doesn't affect anybody else, it affects the kids. So I think we owe it to ourselves to come together as a community, find the middle, and talk to everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lewis.
Yes,
Lewis, describe your contribution. This is a general question.
Okay.
Describe your contribution as a board member. What would you define as accomplishments and improvements due to this contribution?
Okay, contribution as a board member is being, attending practically every meeting. I think I missed one workshop 2 years ago, work session. Having the background that I have in education, having been a teacher and a principal in this district and currently an instructor at Stockton University, I have a lot of information about education in my background, so that's part of a responsibility. The last part of your question.
So the last part is, what would define as accomplishments and improvements due to?
Big time accomplishment. I chaired 3 years ago now, the superintendent search committee that we had in our district. We went through a full several months of process that is developed by the New Jersey School Boards Association. And our committee went through all that entire process, and I think the biggest accomplishment was picking the superintendent that we now have, who is actually doing an outstanding job. So I think that's a major accomplishment. Another accomplishment is trying very hard at sometimes to make sure our meetings move along. I serve as president right now, to move along our meetings during the course of the evening, to make sure everybody at the table has a say, so that the public knows the important information that they have and where their feelings are, so that all board members have an opportunity to speak. What other accomplishments? But being on this board for the number of years I've been on, since like 2000, actually, since it's 9 years this year, 2010 I think was my first year, you get training. We get trained by the New Jersey School Boards Association, and during that time you get certified in different levels. So many of our board members have been certified. Our whole board was honored last year as a certified Board of Education in New Jersey. I've been trained as a certified board member, a master board member, a certified board leader. So and that comes with attending not only our meetings, but state meetings, the state workshop that they have in Atlantic City in October, and participating in all the different areas. And through that training, you get a better knowledge of how you should run a school board. And that's part of the whole background. So I think we've accomplished a lot over the years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Marita, we have a question here specific for you. If re-elected, how would you go about regaining the public's trust following rampant news in the community regarding district administration and the board not being transparent and repairing the broken relationships among the current board?
First of all, I think we are very transparent now. When we started with our budget this year, we broke it up into 3 pieces and presented each to the public, each piece. That's the most extensive and visible accomplishment we've had this year. Our budget went through great. So I really believe the way we've set up our meetings, we have a work meeting now. We get our agenda, we have a work meeting where we sit in front of the public and really work out the problems that we do have. Sometimes it might, get a little heated. I think our board as a whole is very well meshed. We have school administrators, we have a lawyer, we have teachers. It's a very well melded board, I believe. And as far as the transparency, I think everybody's been great. We have, as I said, we have our work session, and then we have another whole week in between where we can mull over and ask questions, and then have the meeting where we vote on it. We also put our questions to the superintendent and all of her administration, and they actually read the questions out to the public. So the public knows every question that we have asked administration, and that's a huge part of our visibility. So I think we're on a good path, and I think we just need to continue that way.
Thank you very much. Ray, this is a general question. How would you describe student achievement, and what suggestions would you give to support current administration decisions that are being implemented in our schools?
That's a good question, because I'm going to continue to fight for a better curriculum. AHTE have probably the best teachers and the best staff and the best curriculum in the whole county. That's if you're college bound. But if you're not college bound, we got rid of our trades, we got rid of our general classes. I always say, you know, I hate to use it, I said, my one son who was college bound, he graduated magna cum laude. My other son who wasn't college bound graduated thank you laude. You know, and what we got to do is concentrate more on that non-college bound student. You know, instead of them going to Walmart and Wawa, we need to get our trades back into this district. ACIT used to be a school for the bad. When I was in school, you was bad in school, they threw you to VOTEC. Now you can't even get into VOTEC. You have probably 1,200 apply and 470 some get in there. You took away our trades because I graduated from college and I bought a house. I called 7 friends over and said, what's up, what's wrong? I told them I hung up a mini blind. You know, it goes to show you, just because you go to college, we still need our trades. My car was in the shop yesterday. Where's our auto mechanics? My ceiling fan, I want a new one. I can't put it up. So we have to get our curriculum back to really helping our kids, not just the ones for college.
Thank you very much. Patrick, this one is specific for you.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the district's programs for special education, gifted students, and English language learning?
So for special education, we have 1,132 classified students right now. That's about 15.39% of our total population for our students. I believe we have a good special education program. My neighbors belong part of the special education program. I believe we could do a little bit more. We can always do a little bit more. But I believe a lot of people from other counties or from other districts try to send their kids over to Egg Harbor Township because we do have a good program. So I believe we can always try to enhance that as well and try to bring a little bit more people in. I believe we have a good program right now for our special education.
And how about the English language?
I'm not familiar with the curriculum for the English language. Off the top of my head, I don't know that, but when I do, if I do become on the board, that's something that I'll go into and dig into.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Nataki, this is a general question to you, and we hope we get around with everybody with a general question. But how would you handle, this is again, how would you handle requests or questions if approached by an individual or special interest group? And do you feel that responding to requests or questions on social media is appropriate for a board member?
No, well, first and foremost, as a board member, you have to educate yourself on the district policies. So there would be, you know, policies that would set forth behavior or conduct for a board member.
Could you turn on your mic? I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Can you repeat the question and then I'll...
Most certainly.
Thank you.
How would you handle requests or questions if approached by an individual or special interest group? And do you feel that responding to requests or questions on social media is appropriate for a board member?
Okay, so first and foremost, as a board member, I would educate myself on what the district policies set forth related to communication with, you know, special interest groups or outside parties. I would also make sure that I'm versed with school board ethics as well, so I'm not in violation of any of that. If the board policy is one that you do not speak to special interest groups and that you refer them to perhaps a board attorney, I would then do that. Many districts, as well as our district, currently has a policy around social media. So I would make sure that I am following those policies that are set forth you know, by our district policy, because that's what we should be following.
Thank you very much. Mr. Michael Price, this is specific for you.
Yes.
How do you plan on working as a team with people with different views? And what unique qualities do you bring to the table?
Well, as my first year on the board, it became quite an experience when I did come on board that a big part of it is you have to be able to work with different views. You have to be a listener. You have to be an independent thinker. And this has helped me so far as I moved along this journey. And it is very important that you listen. You have to be a listener. And at the end of the day, I listen to everybody, and I base my opinions and my thoughts and my vote on my own. I'm an independent thinker. I don't vote for the status quo or up or down, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, I vote based on how I feel and what's best for the kids and the taxpayers of the township. So it's important that you work together, come in open-minded with a positive attitude, and realize that everybody has a different viewpoint, and we come from different backgrounds and so on and so forth. But you have to get along and work to get along, because the common interest is the best for the kids of the district. So that's pretty much my compass. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Stephen, this is a general question. What do you feel are essential attributes for a successful school board member, and why? And if you can, give some examples.
I think first is transparency when you're up here and you're, paying attention to what's going on, reading your agendas, the Friday before you get it, so when you come to the work sessions and the regular meetings that you're well prepared and you're not up here asking, a whole bunch of questions when you already had the information. You need to be invested in what's going on in the district and know what's going on. You have to be an innovator, a shaker and a mover, someone that's going to be able to think outside the box and offer recommendations. I know the board doesn't get really involved with the nitty-gritty of running a school district, but that doesn't mean when you're in the back room, you can't collaborate with the educators and bring a different perspective to it. Me personally, 19 years in emergency medical services as a paramedic, I've seen a lot in my day, and I've been through a lot of leadership classes. And it's all about communication, effective communication, clear, consistent messaging, and understanding what's going on and not jumping and making knee-jerk reactions and decisions without having the background information. And I think just me being in the position I'm in with my background and well-rounded in the, and I've been listening, since I was unsuccessful last year. I've been into all the work groups, all the board meetings. I've listened, I've come to the events, and I paid attention. I made a commitment last year to be present, and I was, and I've informed the community on what's going on. I've been out there, I've been talking, residents asking questions about what's going on, and I think that I'm, a guy a lot of people can come to with questions, because I'm open and honest. And at the end of the day, you need to be open and honest and be yourself.
Thank you very much. Lou?
Yes.
How do you feel about the schools being reconfigured, being separated by grade or multi-grades in each building?
Right. Interesting fact that I lived through reconfiguration in this town several years ago when we moved the buildings around and changed the setup of the buildings. The most important part of that whole reconfiguration, in my opinion, is the 6th grade that we have right now at the middle schools. The fact that they have a different schedule than the 7th and 8th graders. That's something we've been working on. We have possible solutions, but it's a transportation issue. So that, to me, is a real big thing, and I really support that they should all be on the same times. I think it's difficult for the administration, for the teachers in the building, to have that difference in the time schedule. So reconfiguration, I think that's one of the key things. Other part of reconfiguration is going to come down to the full-day kindergarten situation. When we decide and move ahead with the full-day kindergarten program and decide where they're going to be located, that might involve a reconfiguration of the different buildings in order to have the students in a good, complete classroom. And the state requires that our classrooms have bathrooms for kindergarten-age children. So we have to look at that aspect of the whole program. So that's another part of the whole future of where we are going to go with configuration. Dr. Gruccio has a whole plan for 3 meetings coming up regarding that whole topic of reconfiguration, a town hall situation, where she's opening to the public to come here and meet and talk about the different possibilities and get the public input. So look for those dates. I'm sure they're going to be on our Facebook page and advertised. So that's coming soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you.
Marita, this is specific for you. What responsibilities, if any, should districts assume for dealing with society's issues such as drug abuse, gender identification, hunger, and mental health?
Okay. As a board member, we put policies in place, and regulations are made by the administrators and are pertinent to each building. Social emotional learning is a real priority. We put that in our master plan to accomplish over the next 5 years. So our social emotional learning, we have our staff being trained in that through their professional development days. We've put all the utensils out there for the kitchen so they can all pick them up, learn, and take care of the kids that way. It's a huge responsibility. As far as the government goes, I think sometimes they take too much away from the parents. There are things that I know parents, not only here, but across the country, really want to start teaching their children or having their children experience. Now, after those parents we should have a joint partnership when things start to enter into our school. We have to have our staff ready and prepared, but prepared to work with the parents and the children. If it's something that the children do not want their parents to know about, and we have staff available and ready to help them through it, that's a wonderful thing. But I believe that most of the social background, the parents should be the #1 people with their children.
Thank you very much. Ray, this is another one specific to you. What is your opinion about the new policy being discussed that will not allow booster clubs to give scholarships to participants in the program?
Give them the money. Being a coach, that's a tough subject for me, but what we have to realize, it is a policy state mandated with the NCAA. If we give students scholarships, supposed to get a scholarship to college for, say $1, we give them 25 cents. That 25 cents will be subtracted from that $1 of that college scholarship. So we really have to be careful, but I'm all in favor of, we have a kid going off to college. He or she got a scholarship. It's still sheets, it's still blankets, it's still books. We have to find a way we can help them in some kind of gift for them going away, because it's not the scholarship, it's the cost. Just a simple gas trip home for Thanksgiving to see mom or dad, something can be done. The Booster Club, can help in that way. Also, like I said, they can help in paying for the uniforms and different things. But the scholarship issue is touchy with the NCAA, but we gotta find a way to show our kids that we appreciate what they're doing.
Thank you very much, Ray. Patrick, who should set rules governing board procedures, methods, and behaviors? And who should enforce them?
So I believe the state should. The state should, and the people elect the board members, and we go off the guidelines from the state. Can you repeat the question then, please?
Yes, certainly. So who should set rules governing board procedures, methods, and behaviors, and who should enforce them?
Like I said, I believe the state does, so that we're all the same, and we're all, between each board, we have the same kind of set procedures, and we're all the same exact.
Consistent.
Yes, consistency is always good.
Dr. Yataki, what types of activities can be implemented throughout the district to celebrate our diversity of our students and our staff?
I would say first and foremost, every building should have a developed climate and culture plan. In that climate and culture plan, the school can actually have a diversity committee. On that diversity committee, they can incorporate PBIS into that climate and culture plan, and it will become just the norm throughout the school on a daily basis, and not you're just celebrating a particular month. So some of the activities that schools can do, of course, you can have an international night. You can, and with the international night, you can have an international fair. You can, showcase different dances from different countries, highlight different foods. You can do something as simple as that, or you can do something as extravagant as developing a miniature passport book, where every student will go classroom to classroom, and they're visiting a different country. That teacher has transformed that classroom into a different, into a different country. That is one way. Another way to bring activities, diversity activities into the district is through parents volunteering. Our parents love to come into schools. They love to read to our students. They love, to interact with the classes. So even on like a career day, a parent can come in and talk about, their particular culture. So So we can have culture days very similar to a career day. But like I said, that climate and culture plan should be something that's inclusive district-wide, that every school is implementing, so it doesn't seem like it's something that's so forced. It's something that is occurring on a daily basis across the district, because let's face it, our district is becoming more diverse, so we have to make sure that we're truly, embracing, engaging, and educating every single child in our district, whether you are a minority student or if you're part of the majority.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Michael Price. How can the school board know if its goals are being accomplished and its policies are being implemented? Let me read that again. How can the school board know if its goals are being accomplished and its policies are being implemented?
Well, I think a good start is we do an evaluation. The board does a self-evaluation, and each member fills it out, and we pretty much grade ourselves on exactly what the question respects. It's an evaluation. We're continually looking to evaluate areas where we are, where we excel, areas where we might not be so doing so well in, and we try to come up with a happy medium, and through self-evaluations through the School Boards Association. Thank you.
Stephen, if you become a member of the school board, how would you handle your social media?
You follow me, don't you? So first and foremost, I have to make sure, there's, a lot of folks throughout this country that are on school boards that have their basic social media still up and discuss stuff that, inform the community of stuff that goes on. Obviously, they don't disclose any information that's talked about in closed sessions or anything that relates to students, teachers, or specific policies. My social media now is information that I put out about what goes on in the district and some of my feelings about it. Obviously, once on a school board, your feelings then become the rest of the 8 feelings. So some of that would have to be, tempered and stopped, because you can't speak for yourself if you're speaking for 8 others also. That's not fair. However, I'm transparent, open, and honest, and I'm going to be Steve all the time, and I'm going to put out what the community needs to know. I made a commitment to the community to be open, honest, and transparent. And tonight's a school board meeting. This is the work session. Come out and join us. This is our regular meeting. Come out and join us. And I don't see any reason with that. And if I'm wrong or people don't agree with that, then so be it. It's my beliefs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I think we're on our last round of questions here. We're going to come to Louis again. And Louis, we're going to stick on the social media.
Okay.
So if you become a member of the school board, how would you?
I am, but yes. Hopefully.
How would you handle social media?
Social media, isn't it sad that we have to discuss social media? I really am upset about that in many ways. Yes, I have an account, but I do not do very much on my account at all. I basically follow things, and today I posted because we had the First Lady of New Jersey visiting our district, and I wanted to share with the public that we had that opportunity. There's a picture of all the people at the high school who met with her. She was here for our sustainability program at ENHC. EHC has one of the highest, most successful programs in the state, actually, for sustainability. So she knew about that and came to visit us today, and I had the honor of meeting her, welcoming her. Our staff was outstanding at the high school. She loved our schools, was very impressed with the cleanliness of the building. So that kind of thing I would love to put on social media. Other than that, I very rarely get involved with social media. But number one, my family won't let me. So, a lot of people like to brag about their grandchildren all on social media. My children won't let me do that. So it's a shame, though, that has to be even a topic tonight, because I think there's some good things about it, but I think it's been overly used in many ways, and it's sad that when they start attacking people. The one time recently that I got on social media was when I really wasn't me, but the person said the president of the board did something, and I defended it, and they apologized because they were wrong. So that kind of thing I will do, because I'm not going to let something knock me when I know it wasn't me, and totally wrong information. So that kind of thing I will respond to. Other than that, I try to lay low with that. I don't think we should get too involved with it as members of the Board of Education.
Thank you very much. Marita, this is specific to you.
I've had all specific ones tonight, haven't I?
You have publicly said that you won't support full-day kindergarten. unless it will be sustainable over a long period with your financial background. What are your ideas to make it sustainable?
We've already accomplished the first goal that we had. I'm not sure that I really said I would not support it. I totally support it. Well, I guess maybe I did say I don't support it until the whole plan is set. We don't want to start something that a year or two later we have to take back. So as right now we've done the audit of the buildings, we know we have room. We're starting to figure out the costs of what it's going to be to hire the teachers or paras, any staff that we need, more cafeteria workers. We're starting to do the monetary evaluation now. When we get all the pieces put together, it will be rolled out. I'm looking forward to it in the next year or two. I think it may very well be next year. As we're receiving more money from the state, it's becoming more affordable to us. Nobody wants full-day kindergarten more than I watch my children and have to drive them back and forth to preschool and kindergarten. And also with all the aspects of giving them a great start in their educational system. So yes, I'm in full support of full-day kindergarten, and each day as we fit all the pieces together, which we have done with the public. We had 3 forums with the public that came, and that was one of the main topics that they really wanted discussed. So our board took that on. We've developed a couple of pieces now, and we're on the road to getting full-day kindergarten.
Very good, thank you. Ray, how would you describe student achievement, and what suggestions would you give to support current administration decisions that are being implemented in our schools?
That's similar to what I was talking about earlier. Student achievement is great. But I suggest to administration, let's make all our students achieve. We always count the ones that's going to Harvard and Yale, but what about the ones going to Walmart and Wawa? So we got a lot of stuff to work on. So that's a topic that's always brought up in my discussion, and that's something we definitely need to work on. Student achievement. We have some great students doing great things, but we want all our students to do great things.
Thank you. Patrick, describe your contribution as a board member. What would define you as your accomplishments and improvements due to this contribution?
I believe I would come with fresh ideas, a new perspective to the board. Very energetic. I believe I can get some stuff done. I'm 11 years I've been in the military, and I believe I can take some of that experience and my ideas and stuff from different travels around the world and put it into the school board. But I'm very transparent. I'm very big into that and into the integrity and the trust. But I believe I can take a lot of my background for construction management, and I believe I push forward to a lot of our trade schools, the trade courses that we would have here in our arts. So that's what I believe my contribution can bring to the EHT school board.
Thank you very much. Dr. Cock, what do you feel are essential attributes for a successful school board member and why? If you can, give some examples.
Successful attributes of a school board member. For one, you have to be an active listener. You have to be well-versed in administrative code, for example, 6A and 18A, because that actually drives the district's policies that the board develops. You have to be one who has integrity, one who does not mind speaking out and going against the grain, but one who will make sure that all their decisions are in the best interest of the students, the staff, as well as the community. One who understands that conflict, there's bad conflict and there's good conflict. But in any conflict, you have to remain respectful of all parties, no matter what your decision is. And also, you have to be a school board member who is able to remove your personal feelings from a particular policy or a decision that you have to pass, because you have to make sure that you are following administrative code.
Okay. Thank you. Michael, this is your last question as well. Describe your contribution as a board member and what would define your accomplishments and improvements due to this contribution.
Well, I think in the time that I spent on the school board, one of my biggest accomplishments was getting through the budget. I think that was quite an experience. It was a lot of responsibility to take on. And I'm very proud that we passed the budget. And I'm also very proud to serve on the curriculum committee, where we can take a look at the curriculum and keep things fresh and interesting within budget and within, within reason to the taxpayers. And I feel that I have to contribute the fact that I get along with others, the fellow board members. I think we have a transparent board, and I think we all get along very well for the most part. And I'm proud to serve with my fellow board members as we do now. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen, another one specific for you, and it says here, or asks here, you have often campaigned that you are doing this for the kids. Why did you choose to run for the one-year term when there are 3 open seats for the 3-year term?
I just thought that in this part of my life, this was important for me to run in this spot. This is the spot that I ran for last year, because last year it was the 2-year unexpired term. I was unsuccessful, so why not go at it again and try and be successful this year around, and then move into next year, run again. Apparently I like to run for some reason. I guess I like my fancy signs. So I'll be running again next year after I'm successful this year. That's pretty much it. It's pretty much what I decided to do. I talked with my wife and the family. It was the best for us, and so that's why I decided to run for it.
Thank you. So that's the last of the questions that we have for our candidates, and we're going to give them all 1 minute to close the session, and we're going to start with Louis.
1 minute. Before you count my minute, may I give you some dates of information? I mentioned that the district reconfiguration town hall meetings are going to be held. The dates are November 21st, 25th, and December 11th, and that's here at Alder at 7 o'clock in the evening. The kindergarten town hall meetings are also here, and they're October 2nd, 17th, and 30th. That's from 7 to 8 o'clock in this room. So please come out to those meetings. Tomorrow night is National Anthem night at a football game. That's at 6:30. We're going to have the largest crowd of boys and girls singing the National Anthem. Believe in the country. We're going to have to go out to break a record. So please be there to support that tomorrow evening. Now may I go to my closing? 11 years as a teacher, 33 years as an elementary school principal, 10 years as an adjunct instructor, over 50 years as an educator. Over these years, I served my profession as a leader at local, county, state, and national levels. I walk the halls of the State House of both Houses of Congress to discuss educational issues with our representatives. I have also worked with many in our community to find ways to get our fair share of state funding. My name is Lou Delabarca. Our most important goal is always to improve student achievement. Our administration has worked diligently to support this goal. This has included the reorganization of our administrative team, the revised kindergarten assessment program, the prioritization of literacy for all, the prioritization of the math program that we are involved with, the STREAM activities that we have, and now we're into planning for an aviation program in our district at the high school. So all of that goes to bring together our theme of embrace, engage, and educate. I appreciate that the community has given me the opportunity to serve over these many years. I'm looking forward to continuing for another term. I hope I have your support. Don't forget to vote for D number 1 on Election Day, November 5th. And thank you all for being here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck to you as well.
Thank you very much.
Maria?
I think, as a lot of people know in the district, I came from the education department. I was in the finance department. I was the bookkeeper for the township. Once I retired there were some glaring, I don't want to say discrepancies. There were things that I knew could run smoother as far as the finance with the school board. I think I brought that this past year with the budget. As I said, we broke it into 3 different parts so that the full board would really understand each part and then the whole picture. We've been very transparent. I'm the chairperson of the finance committee. We've been very transparent with everything that we've done financially in the district. And The other thing that I think I have contributed to the board is my very first day on the board. From then on, I educated myself. I became a certified new board member my first year. This past year, I received certified board member, and now I'm working on becoming a master board member. And just like one of the other candidates mentioned, you have to educate yourself. In New Jersey, every year you legally have to take a course in an aspect of being a board member. Well, I went a little further and took quite a few classes. I knew nothing about school law when I was elected. Now I do. As far as ethics, I didn't know anything about ethics, took a course in that, now I know that. All of this put together gives you a really well-rounded school board member, and I hope that that's what I am. And I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Best wishes, Marita. Thank you. Ray?
Mr. Del Barker, next time I'm gonna get you to write me a bio.
Thank
But
you.
if you look at my bio, you won't see much because I'm not a talker. I'm not a writer. I don't text. I'm on Facebook. I don't do all that. My mother used to say, "Let the work have to speak for me." I'm a doer. You know, you asked a question earlier, you know, about participation with the school. I try to be somewhere every day. I'm not one to just pop up and just say, "Hi, I'm John Doe," you know, and then you don't see him for a while. I'm someone I go to I used to go to football and basketball, and now I'm broadening it out. Football, basketball, girls, softball, track. Look, I even went to a band competition till 11 o'clock at night last year. I'm a former school teacher. I started out as a school teacher in 5th grade in Atlantic City, teacher at Atlantic City High School. Then I went on the police department because it was safer being a cop than a teacher. So I left there and went to the ACC. I was an instructor at ACC for 16 to 21-year-old dropouts. I also started Covenant House. People don't know, they think if I was Steve. I bought Covenant House here from New York back in 1988. And to go up to New York and see the hundreds of kids just laying on the street. And Covenant House have a building now. We used to have a minivan. And we used to ride around all night from 4 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning looking for kids that's homeless. I'm also, like I said, a retired police officer. My whole career was in juvenile. I spent 15 years at Atlantic City High School, where I had an old school policy. I believe in corporal punishment. Jack them up, but teach them. You know, it's illegal. That's the problem today. Even my old football team, a coach was teaching a kid how to tackle, and he had to wrap and grab and take them down. The parents said, "That's abuse. We're going to teach these kids now." I've been coaching Little League football for 39 years, 7th and 8th grade. I did 20 years with Atlantic City Dolphins. I got 19 years here, and I think I'm good for one more year. But I'll never give it up because my passion is for kids. I guess because my boys left me. You know, and it's so funny. I go to Florida every weekend. You know, I might fly to Florida, take my son to lunch, and come back home that night. I was leaving today, but you're so important. I stayed just for this. So, you know, it's just like I said, because I don't have the kids at home. You know, they're on their own now. I be around other kids, you know, to help. We had a situation on the Little League football team. One of my coaches put a kid off. This kid's 9 years old. You can't control a 9-year-old kid. You're not putting them off. That's what we're here for, to teach boys to become men. And what we have to do is even our troubled kids, that's the problem with society, cast them away. And then they learn on their own. So the bad influence is grabbing our kids, and the bad influence is teaching our kids, so you expect them to be angels. So now we gotta do our part. I'm going over a minute, but thanks for coming out. I'm ready. I'm here, and I want to stay.
Thank you, Ray. Patrick?
Thank you. Ray, you can write my speech. So that was perfect. But I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. It's a time commitment out of your normal daily schedule to come out here and support the candidates for the future of Egg Harbor Township School Board. I also want to say thank you to the Home and School Association for hosting this event. It's a great event. I'm running for a 3-year term. Okay, I'm very aware of the time commitment if elected as a school board member. I understand the time commitment other than just the meetings, and I'm prepared for that. My family is prepared for that too. I have a great wife at home that will help out. I don't have any conflicts to perform the board or to vote on any topics, so I have no conflicts. I will be a team player, and I will vote on facts. I will not vote on emotion. Okay, I believe that I believe that the Board of Education needs more transparency, and that starts with engaging in the community. And by having our meetings televised and taped, we've talked about it for over a year, it's time to start it. I believe we need to do that. I believe that the public education is intimately tied to the liveliness of our community. I believe investing in our children now means a better future for Egg Harbor Township. I truly believe that. We have to invest in our children to have a better environment and a better culture and a better climate for our future in Egg Harbor Township. That's what we need. We have 45,000 people in Egg Harbor Township. We need to expand that. We need to branch out. I believe we need to ensure our superintendent and our staff has the necessary tools to do their job. That's very important. I truly believe in the core values I spoke about earlier. Mine is integrity and excellence in all I do. I believe that 11 years of experience in the military and the federal government will help me if elected. And I just want to say thank you again, and remember to vote for number 4, Patrick Ireland, in November 5th. Thank you, and everybody have a good night and travel safe.
Thank you, Patrick. Patrick?
EHT community, if you are interested in a candidate who possesses the following, high five number 5 on November the 5th. Someone with over 15 years experience in education as a teacher, a behavior specialist, a therapist, and a school administrator. Someone who has 10 years plus in city, state, as well as congressional board experience. Someone who isn't afraid to go against the status quo in order to do what's right and what's in the best interest of our students, our staff, and our entire community. Someone who would never compromise their integrity for personal gain or hidden agendas of others. Someone who will ensure we are getting the proper return on our investment in all of our programs, including making sure we hire the right people for the right positions. Someone who would advocate for full-day kindergarten without those tax increases. Find creative ways to reduce spending and give us some tax relief. Social equity, as well as district transparency. Someone who has both the education as well as political contacts to not only get EHT to the table, but have the ability to advocate effectively for our district and to be taken seriously when we're at the table. The time is now for change. Vote for a qualified candidate who can take our district to the next level. Vote for me, Dr. Nataki Chestnut Lee, number 5 on November the 5th.
Thank you very much. Michael?
Okay, I would like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, Home and School Association, everybody at home that's watching on television. I would just like to say that I was appointed a member to the Board of Education this February of this year, and I'm looking forward to continue working on the many great things happening in our district. Safety is the most important to me, as together as a team and with public input, we have increased the size of our security force and have hired Class 3 officers who are specially trained and assigned to our schools. We have implemented a solid plan to fortify and better secure our school entrances and have brought radio communications up to date. And as I mentioned before, as a board member serving on the curriculum committee, I want to assure you that I am continually looking at the very best ways to keep our school curriculum both current and interesting for our students, within budget, and at the best possible cost to our taxpayers. Serving on the Board of Education is a volunteer position that requires full-time commitment and dedication. Rest assured, I will continue to devote, as my fellow board members do, many hours of participating in meetings and workshops, as well as state-mandated training and seminars necessary to stay fresh and current on the many challenges and laws facing public education in New Jersey today to ensure our schools are well run. I am a 55-year lifelong resident of Egg Harbor Township and attended Egg Harbor Township schools. I have a vested interest in our community. As a longtime local business owner, I know how to deliver products and services on time and on budget. In addition, I work in the education field as a truancy officer in a neighboring public school district where I have the privilege of helping students and families every day, all while experiencing how public education works inside and out. Schools are buildings of steel and concrete, but it's the students, staff, and community spirit coming together every day what makes things great. Please vote Michael Price for EHT School Board on November 5th, 1-year unexpired term. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you, Michael. Stephen?
Yeah, first I want to say thanks to everybody for coming out on a Thursday night Eagles football night game. Hopefully we'll be out here soon so we go catch the kickoff. But listen, I dedicated myself, it was probably a year and a half ago, started coming to the board meetings, came out and ran last year, was unsuccessful for the 2-year seats. And it reaffirmed my desire to want to be part of this community, listening to the community throughout the years, being out there talking on social media, as we talked about before. I got to hear a lot of good questions, and I got to hear a lot of good input, and I got to listen from other people's perspectives. Because my perspective, I know, sometimes we want to believe our perspective is the best perspective. It isn't. There's a middle, there's always a middle. And I think that I'm fair. My, over 19 years of service in emergency services, starting as a volunteer in 2000, when I was 20, really has allotted me to see a whole lot in our communities and meet some really awesome leaders and be mentored by some of the best. And the last question, you asked me why I ran for the 1-year seat. You got to listen to a couple of these folks down here with years of experiences. Why would I want to run against them? So that, that kind of put into, they have given years of community service to the school board and to the district. Nothing against Mike, he's new to the board, he's done a great job to this date, since he started. But I figured that I would be better off running here than taking away from all the good stuff that Lou, Maria, and Ray have done for the school district. Moving forward, we talk about communication and transparency. There have been issues throughout the year. We talked about kindergarten, the new onboarding of the kindergarten where they went this school year. Teachers found out very late in the thing. When you're a parent of a kindergartner who's going to school for the first time, you're just as nervous as your kindergartner. We should have given better notice. We should have communicated that better. That's what I'm going to bring to the table. I'm going to make sure that we communicate what we need to communicate to the township residents, to the kids, to the teachers, making sure that it's an effective message out there. And I think that if we communicate better, we talked about trust earlier, we bridge that gap. We need more community involvement. We need these rooms filled, not when it's a high-profile policy, but all the time. We need the community in here involved with the decisions that we're making and listening to what the community wants. So, vote for Steve. Number 2, 1 year unexpired. Go Birds.
Thank you, Stephen. And thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. And I also just want to close things here. This is a big thing that these folks are doing. They're giving up their time and volunteering. They're making a difference in your lives and in your children's lives. So I respect what you're doing, and I thank you for your time and for your service as well. I really appreciate it. So, thank you, everybody.
I would like to thank the candidates and, more importantly, the public for coming and participating in this session that we do with the candidates. Home and School is very appreciative of Mr. Wisniewski for being our moderator and taking his time to come down up here to do this. I think he did a great job. Thank you again. Drive safe and vote November 5th. Good night.